First, we want to open our tomatoes. Just use some scissors and cut. I push in on the sides to make it easy to pour and open and use. One more. This is polpa di pomodoro, which I think means potato pulp or pulped potatoes. Any kind of cut tomatoes should work just fine. And push it open. I know it may take you a second. Set those aside. I will also cut the package for my beef. And we're done with the scissors. Into the sink. Next, we're going to cut one onion. I like to have a second bowl just to conveniently collect my garbage. I'll put that in my sink for the moment. You can use whatever kind of onion you like. You can use more than one. It's entirely up to you. We'll cut off his top and bottom here. And even the way that you cut the onion is really all up to you and what you like, the texture that you like. Just going to take the skin off, the outermost parchment layer, and the same over here. Maybe. Sometimes it isn't easy. Red onion is also delicious. This is some kind of onion. I don't know what kind. There's a little spot of something at the bottom here. I'll just cut that off. Looks okay. Now, some people like to slice this way. You can do that. The onion already has a lot of cuts that we can use just fine. So I'm going to turn my cutting board. And one thing, if you have this type of knife, you can use actually the back part of the knife to come in and cut almost all the way to the end. Be very careful with your fingers. And just come back across to get cuts like that. Put those into our bowl. And you can try to be faster, you can try to be fancy, I just don't care. I just want some onion in roughly a cube, a roughly chopped onion. And we'll just take this little last piece and give them some chops. These are going to cook down quite a bit, so we don't care too much about how they look. And there we go. Onions, dunions. Place those aside and try not to cry too much. The sulfur compounds do not feel good in your eye. Sulfur. Ew. So these are jalapeños from my garden outside. You can use whatever kind of chilies you like, or you can use powder. You don't have to use fresh. I think the fresh give a nice fruitiness to things. Look at that beautiful color. You could use smoked chilies, such as chipotle, or other peppers like that. You could use just about anything you want. Some people will take out the seeds and the stems. I want the heat, so I'll leave them in today. So onions are powerful today. Got me tearing up. You can dice these, you can mince them, you can do anything you like. I like these slices. Now, if you want to get rid of the seeds and the stem, you can just come in here, make a little cut. We can see where our stems and seeds are. Make another cut like that. So you have 2 slices. And take the white part and just use your knife or your fingers to get rid of it. Cutting around, cutting around. Taking out the white part. Well, maybe not so white anymore. And for this one, we'll mince it up a little bit. This is kind of an odd shaped pepper. You want to be very careful when you're doing this that you don't cut your finger. This knife needs to be sharpened. I did not do my preparation today. Always prepare. We'll take our little matchsticks and odd bits. And we'll just go over here. Chop them into nice little pieces. Work your knife back and forth. Remember not to touch your eyes. Let's get a little bowl. And make a mess. Big ones, you can use your hands. When you use your knife like this, be careful not to actually put the blade down. You'll make the blade very dull. It won't cut very well anymore. Just keep it as close to perpendicular as you can. You can also use a bench scraper, which is even better. And there's our peppers. If you want, at this point, you can use fresh garlic and also cut and mince that, or use a garlic press. Today, I'm just going to use garlic powder, which has a slightly different flavor, slightly different spiciness to it. You can do it. Give this a quick little wipe. I try not to use paper towels too often. I try to use an actual towel. We will take this off. Give our hands a quick rinse. And now we are ready. We have our spices, which are chili powder, which already has some cumin and other things, but we're going to put more cumin. Fresh cracked black pepper. A little bit of cayenne pepper. As mentioned, our garlic powder. And smoked paprika. That is going to give us a nice smoky flavor. And one thing that you don't normally see in a lot of recipes, but we're going to do, is soy sauce. That is why I don't have normal salt here. So first, let's see if we can get the pan. There we go. So I have a cast iron here. This is actually the first time I'm going to use that cast iron to cook chili. So we'll see. It might not even be big enough. I might have to switch. And we'll just start getting this a little warm. And first, we're going to go in with our beef. We don't need any more oil than it already has in it. Just get that in there. And you want to get this into small pieces. Some people like bigger chunks of meat. If you have steak that's a little tough, you can put it in here. Or stew meat. I haven't seen it yet in Japan. まだ見たことない。stew beef. アメリカはよくあるんですけど。So any kind of tough meat, you can do this a little bit differently. You can cook it in oil to get it crispy on the outside and golden. And when our chili is cooking with liquid, you can leave that beef in there for a long time and it will become very soft. And for now, we're just gonna get this browning up. Already a beautiful sound. And one good thing to do is to always clean up as you go. So at the end of the day, you don't have any dishes to do. Any more dishes. It's not the most exciting part, but it is something you should always do. Especially if you don't have a dishwashing machine, a dishwasher. If you're using non-stick instead of cast iron, be sure not to use metal. Use wood or plastic. And back to a little more dishing. I don't need to put the camera over here. This isn't exciting. Now, please let me know. My goal is to teach American cooking with simple English. Please tell me if I speak too fast or too slow, or if I use hard words, difficult words, or if you have any suggestions, please tell me. I'd love to hear. I love to share my cooking, and I love to help with language. So this is on medium right now. And we're starting to be cooked through. So I want to take it up a little bit. Make sure all the pieces are small. I want to take it up a little bit. Try to get that bottom nice and crispy. It gives it a texture when you bite it, so it's not just all mushy. In order to get brown, we need to get the water to go away. Now also today, I'm using pork because in Japan it's cheaper. But you can use ground beef, you can use ground turkey, ground chicken, duck, goat, anything you want. It doesn't have to be ground. It can be cut into small pieces. You just may need to add some more oil or fat if it's a very dry type of meat. This has a lot of oil. And be careful with cast iron, this will get really hot. One thing we can do is put a little protector on there. It's a little loose, so I don't like to pick it up with this handle, but it lets me touch and move safely. Still waiting for browning. Chopping up a little more. But I think we are close. The hard part is I always want to move it, but I need to let it stay. Also be careful if your stove is not level, the pan is not level, the fat will come to one side and it may cook differently or cook more or cook faster. Let all that steam and water get out. Do a little more cleanup while we wait. Get us a bowl ready. All right, and we're ready. We've got some nice golden brown bits in there. We can see from the sticking that we're making more texture, a better mouth feel to keep it interesting. So now, I'm going to take my bowl. Can you see my bowl? You can see my bowl, excellent. And we are going to put the beef in the bowl. Or not beef, the pork. Because this is a cast iron skillet, I want to be very careful. And of course the stove is hungry. Always got to throw some on the stove. This is really heavy. It's okay that we don't get all of it. There's still a little bit left. That's fine. Don't worry. That will give us more interesting texture here in a minute. Yep, that's still hot. There we go. Don't burn yourself like me. We'll put this aside. And we'll get a little more oil. You can use whatever kind of oil you'd like. I make bacon frequently, so I have some leftover bacon fat. You can just strain it off and reuse it. We'll turn our heat back on. Low for the moment, medium low. Maybe a little more than that. Now you might ask, why am I adding fat when I've already gotten a lot of fat out of this meat? Well, a lot of it's in this bowl and not in the pan, so I can't use it. I will drain the fat off the meat. If it looks like it's going to be too fatty. Come in with our onions. Be sure to throw your bowl in. No, please don't do that. Oh, that already smells fantastic. So we'll break our onions up. And we want these to start cooking until they're a little more translucent. At least until more of the water is driven off. If you like your onions a little more strong and a little tougher, a little harder when you bite, then you can cook them less. It's up to you. Cook them how you like them. No runaways. While those are cooking, I'm going to get ready for one little last bit of fat. Forgot about it. But we want to add a little bit of fat when we add our spices. This is common in Indian cooking and probably many others, but it's to bloom the spice, to make the flavor open up. these smell really good. A little bit more. We'll add in our fat. Get any off the spoon that's trying to stay around. Don't want to waste anything. Now I'm going to make a little hole in the middle here where our fat is. First, we're going to use a little bit of cumin. About that much. Black pepper. Cayenne pepper. You can use any kind of spice powder you want. Depends upon how spicy you like, what kind of spices you like. I'm going to turn my heat off for a second. Garlic powder. Good amount of that. Use less if you've used fresh garlic. And to give this a smoky taste, smoked paprika. Finally, we have our chili powder. I like to use a lot. And I want to finish the bag. You use however much you like. I'll just thin this heat. We're just going to let that hang out for a second. And go in with just a little bit of soy sauce. And that's going to let us deglaze our pan. Get some moisture back in these spices. And now we'll add our fresh chilies. Back on with the heat. And immediately, tomatoes. So now this is going to be very spiced, not hot spicy, just spiced. Although this version is a little hot. And smoky. I will fill this with a little bit of water to put in. If you are using tough meat, use more water. And now we will let this get back up to where it starts to bubble and boil. Again, clean as you go. Put away your spices. Put away your soy sauce. Don't break all your bottles. Don't do that. Clean your counter. Oh, he's already starting to bubble. Some people like beans. You can put in almost any kind of bean. I don't know about chickpeas or garbanzo beans. I've never tried. Black beans, American style black beans, not Japanese kuromame, will change the taste a lot, so be careful. And the texture, it'll change the texture. Most people use kidney beans because they are shaped like a little kidney, kind of like a partial moon. Look at that beautiful stuff. Put away our fat. We can go ahead and put the beef back in, or whatever meat you were using. We lost a lot of fat there, but that's fine. We don't need that fat. Just mix it in. This pan is just barely big enough. I only got it very recently. Some people say you shouldn't do tomatoes in a cast iron pan. Well, too bad. I am trying to see what this pan is like. You can use any kind of pan. Normally, I use this, which is actually a pressure cooker pot. And it works fine. I don't use the pressure, just normal. Lovely bubbly. Bubbling around our edge. Move it more towards the center. Make sure we're all mixed up. And now, we'll take a break for a finished cooking. Welcome back. And now it is time for everybody's favorite part. We've had this cooking for about an hour. And as you can see, still nice and hot. All of the flavors have come together. It's time to eat. Put some of this in our bowl. Oh, and look at that beautiful pepper. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Still looks gorgeous. Now I'm going to add some cheese. You could add cheese. You could add chives. You could add sour cream. If you have crackers, crackers are good. I personally like to make cornbread, but I'm on a diet, so no cornbread today, but we will do a video on that. Put in a little bit of cheddar cheese, white cheddar. Make sure we get it all out of there. Don't want to waste any. Cheese is expensive in Japan. Give it a little mix. And yeah, get a nice bite with some cheese, some peppers. And that is fantastic. Thank you very much for watching and joining us today. If you have any feedback, please let me know. This is our first video, and we'd love to hear it. Thank you very much.